opportunity to do this interview with you. And if you don't mind, we are going to start with with our first query. Previously minister in charge of mines and hydrocarbons, you're actually minister in charge of planning and economic diversification. What is your opinion about your new ministerial department?
Okay, well, like you have said, I was in charge for many years of the mining and hydrocarbons in Equatorial Guinea. I can say that I'm extremely happy and satisfied what I was able to achieve during my almost 10 years at that ministry as minister. I actually worked 10 years before. So, in a way, the new post that I have as Minister of Planning and Economic Diversification, it's actually a very logical one. And I say logical because, in a way, for almost 10 years or more than 10 years, we have been, or I have been responsible of making the country very much dependent on those key resources, is oil and gas. So the economic diversification is the logical next step because we need to avoid that we are completely just dependent on one resource. So the new responsibility that we will have is related to how we can make that the other economies also grow. And we are discussing different activities that need to be grown. And we have selected five economies that are priorities. The first one is the digital economy. The second one will be the green economy, both agriculture and forestry. And forestry. And we have also another priority is the blue economy, mainly for fishery, but also hydroelectric, another related with water. And the fourth economy that we believe that is the priority also will be what we call the energy economy. This is the one that we require and it will be very important for this diversification. And the last one, it will be the tourist economy. So, but again, I'm extremely happy of this new role. It's a new challenge, and like we did in the mine and hydrocarbons, I am more than happy to be able to provide my knowledge, my input, and my know-how to make sure that the same results that I was able to do in mine and hydrocarbons, I can achieve it in this new department.
Thank you, sir. If you don't mind, we are going to proceed with our next query. According to you, what are the challenges related to the economic diversification regarding the current context featured by uncertainties?
Okay. Well, in reality, I think the three challenges are the first one has been the volatility of the hydrocarbon sector. And this is a big challenge for us because as Equatorial Guinea being a country that depends on these resources, any volatility on the hydrocarbons have an immediate impact on our budget. The second one is definitely the COVID pandemic effect. Even though people will believe that the COVID is over and that we have come out of this pandemic, the effects of COVID are still there. So it really have affected many economies. And of course, the last one is the Russia-Ukraine conflict that in a way wanted to know have affected different economies. Those I would say are the key issues that many economists, including Equatorial Guinea, are watching at this moment and is affecting us.
Thank you, sir. And now the other query. What is your opinion about the upcoming BRICS Summit, especially regarding the economic power of this organization? Their contribution to the global GDP is currently estimated at 31.5%. Do you think they should admit more African countries as member states?
Well, in general, I would say the BRICS summit and the BRICS economy it's the logical new development that it's going to help us because it will not be anymore a unipolar economy that only one area that by creating an alternative what it does it creates more competitiveness. That doesn't mean that you have to choose either the current what you're working or the BRICS. It means that you can work with all of them. So it's not an issue of choosing a side. For the BRICS, we are extremely satisfied and happy that we have South Africa as an African country. And this also gives us a great opportunity because there's other economies in Africa like Nigeria, like Egypt, that sooner or later for the development, there will be logical next members that they could join also to the BRICS. And we all would like to also join. And, and clearly the reason is because countries like Brazil, countries like Russia, countries like China, India, and of course South Africa are countries that we do have personal economic relationships. So yes, I think more African countries should decide to join, but I think it should not mean that if you start working with the BRICS, you need to forget about the rest. It's just another alternative that can create more competitiveness on this new war. I wouldn't call it war order, I'll call it war economy.
Thank you, sir. And now, in a recent interview, Barrister Mamadou Ismaila KONATE, former Minister of Justice in Mali, mentioned good governance issues as part of the main causes of poverty in the world, especially in Africa nowadays. Do you agree to this statement?
Well, I have to say that the statement it's in a way correct, but I do not believe that we should just judge our entire economy on one sector. The development of economy and the development of countries is not just dependent on just governance. There's many other factors because even though a lot of developing countries are considered that they are not developed because of that, the governance issue is not only for developing countries. There is some developed countries who also have the same problem. So I think that's one of the parts that is affecting. Uh, One of the key things that it should be taken in consideration in the developing countries it's the coupling or the cooperations between countries. The big difference that developing countries have, that developed countries have already, and they are having growth and rapid growth, is that developing countries are still very protective of their own economies. And they don't understand the advantage of actually joining other markets. For the first time, countries like in the area of SADC, countries like the area of SEMAN, are realizing that together they are stronger. And rather than just each one of them do their own economy. Developed countries like the United States, like France, like the rest, they already have seen the advantage of being able to be more cooperative with the rest. So I think the comment of the minister in one part is right, but we should not judge the economy of any country just because of one issue, and this is governance.
Thank you, sir. And now the next query. If you have to name three social and economic facts which happened since the beginning of this year and which focuses your attention, what will you mention and why?
Well, the first one is to realize, first of all, and I would say it more on issues that have happened. When the Russia-Ukraine conflict started, and there was the problem of the blockage of grain, that's how everybody realized how much we were dependent on the key resources like grain of two countries, Russia and Ukraine. Africa is a very rich continent. It's a continent with resources, and it's very shameful that the entire continent has been dependent on the resources of one country or the other country. So that really has been something that have taught us a lesson. The second one is that that conflict also have taught us something else. Is how much developed countries depend of the resources of the undeveloped countries. And this is the example of how much in terms of oil, gas, and minerals that they require from us. The third one is how important is the, the human capacity and the human movement. Because right now, especially through the pandemic, we realized how, and I'll give you the example of Equatorial Guinea. For many years, we always say that we didn't have people prepared for maintaining oil and gas, for example, either to bring many experts. And through the pandemic, with all the close of the airports and the limitation of traveling, we actually have to depend for almost 1 year of national. And what it was proof is that we do have nationals who actually during that period were able to operate activities. So there was no more that excuse that you need foreigners to come and do operations. Because through that period that the foreigners couldn't travel, we actually by us were able to do it. So like I said, the key issue that have taught us all that has been the Russian Ukraine conflict. But at the same time, we say in Spanish, no hay mal que por bien no venga. So it means that sometimes bad things are good because they open your eyes.
Thank you, sir. And now three things helping you to keep hope despite the current context featured by uncertainties.
The first one is how we have discovered that our resources are needed for the future development of other economies. Even with this new energy transition, the new energy transition is going to require a lot of batteries, for example. So what you will have at this stage is that you need the resources of developing countries. So that proves that even though they say that we are poor countries, we do have a lot of those resources. So that's something that is changing. The other one is that we see how many developing countries, and I'll give the example of SEMA, we are actually working together, like to get companies from Equatorial Guinea to come to Cameroon, like our national bank, Banque, companies from Cameroon going to Equatorial Guinea, like Tradex. And this gives me a lot of hope because we are realizing that together we are stronger and that through this cooperation we'll be able to create added value for our economy. So that gives me a lot of encouragement. And I think Africans, and even the best example is through the Africa Free Trade, Continent Free Trade Initiative, that have proved that if we actually work together, we could be able to create an economy that create more jobs and also being able to create a sustainable economy for all of us.
Thank you, sir. And now to end this interview, three advices you give to youth regarding the current context.
Well, I want to be very careful when I say that I give advice to you because the advices is for everybody. It's for youth, it's for adults, it's for women, it's for children, it's for the rest. That we need to learn. And when I say learn, is that education is very important. Not just the basic education, but the education on what other countries have done. Because unfortunately, a lot of times people believe that you should start everything from scratch, and that should not be the case. There is a lot of things that we can learn from other people that are there. They are in the internet, they are in books. So I do encourage youth. I do encourage private initiative to be educated. And being educated is not just to know how to read and write, it's to be able to choose subjects and being able to develop. The second one that I will say as an advice is that we need to lose the fear of traveling to neighboring countries or African countries. You see, any African, you tell them that they need to go to France, they need to go to UK, they need to go to United States, and they're not free. They buy the ticket and they go. But you tell them, okay, you should buy a ticket so you can go to Nigeria, you can go to Egypt, you can go to Equatorial Guinea. And then they say, I don't know if I want to go. But what they don't realize is that they are more in danger going to the United States than going to an African country. So you have more probability of being shot, for example, in the United States than African countries. And just giving an example, but everybody's willing to buy a ticket and go there. So they say no, Nigeria is dangerous. You could be killed. You could be still. Honestly speaking, I go there. There's many other countries in Europe that you actually could have more dangers and violence than African countries. So I will encourage both you, the rest, travel to African countries. Rather to spend your money in other tourists in the United States, tourists in Europe, spend your money in African countries, and you will see how this will definitely help us, but also will open your eyes and being able to make sure that our intertrade happens.
Thank you, sir, for making yourself available to do this interview. And we hope to keep in touch with you for another occasion.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully, I will be more than open to continue with my new role as Minister of Planning and Economic Diversification to encourage the development of the economy, especially the Republic of Equatorial Guinea. And hopefully, I'll see you soon.